Create, awakening the artist inside you. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 22 of Create with Franz. My name is Franz Sydney, so welcome to my show. And in this episode today, we're going to talk about something very different from usual. We are going to say something about why you are not having a lot of success as an artist and what you can do about it. So stay tuned, and if you like the episode, remember to like it and share it. And of course, you can also leave a review so that more people can have access to this useful information. So stay tuned. What I will talk about isn't everything possible that you need to know about it. It's just a few things, of course, because we only have about 30 to 45 minutes, so we can't possibly cover every single possible problem that you might have in establishing yourself as an artist. But we're gonna start with the basics, maybe 4 or 5 reasons, and then we go forward. And hopefully you will find something that resonates with you today. Because, my job is really to help you to go forward, to enjoy your art, and why not, to make a little bit of money from it, and even a career. So let's go back to this. Let's go to the beginning. Why a lot of artists are not really having much success? One reason is because they think they are an artist, so they cannot do maths, they cannot do business, they cannot communicate with people, so they're not really professional. And the thing is, when you want to be a professional artist, really, if you were to apply for it and there was, let's say, a job description in a job website, let's say, you would find a list and you will say, right, you have to be a lot of things, not just the artist. You have to know how to do marketing, you have to be a social media specialist, you have to be a CEO, you have to be able to do inventories, you must be able to do accountancy and communicate with people, reply to emails, understand how a website can drive people in, understand maybe funnels and all this stuff. So it's a lot more than just painting or drawing or singing or dancing well. Now, I'm not saying that you should have a degree in marketing, but certainly if you want to sell your art, to make it visible, you need to spend some serious time, especially as you begin to establish your business. And then as a constant effort, you need to spend that time to understand how a business should be run and understand how marketing runs. And you can't really say there aren't great resources for all the artists to know this. In fact, you could refer to a book or look for blogs that talk about the topic. You can listen to a podcast, you can talk to other artists, and you can go on the net, perhaps use YouTube or MeWe or whatever, Padler, any website where artists meet and talk and find out just how they're able to make their success. Because I'm telling you, there is a formula, there is a way to become an artist and make money out of it. We will go deeper in other episodes, but just to be clearer, let's talk about a few things. When we're talking about social media marketing, of course there are people that are able somehow to sell their stuff without have ever been on an internet. That's fine, they exist, they've been painting maybe for 30 years, they have their gallery, they're doing well. Or maybe they've been singing for many years, their local people know them, so they're doing well. But let's say that 90% of artists, whatever they are, they need to work with what we call today the social media, or maybe special media focused websites where you can go. For example, some artists have to have an agent. For example, if you are working in drama, singing, audio productions, most times you will have an agent working for you. So you have to know how to work with these people, how to present yourself, how to present your work professionally so you can make an impression and show your best. In fact, there is hardly any point in making a lot of good art if nobody can actually see. You have to be visible. So whether you're visible to your client, to an agent, to a gallery, to a shop, but you have to have that visibility. And with over 6 billion people in the world, depending on who your target client is, this requires a concerted, regular, constant effort from you today. So to learn how to market your artwork, you have to know who is your client. So for example, if your interesting part of your life is to create jazz songs, of course you don't want to target those to new moms with small babies. You want to target that to people who listen to that type of music. Why? There could be designers that are designing an advertising campaign, or there could be maybe people who make movies, and so they need a soundtrack or something like that. So you have to understand, who is my client? What am I doing to make this client happy? How am I presenting this product? And where can they find it? These are the questions you need to ask yourself before you start going absolutely mad. Why? Because you cannot just post your stuff on social media and hope that the correct person will see it. Because if you're talking to everyone in marketing, you're really talking to no one. So you have to be really specific on who you are talking to, what are you doing to fix a problem, and how they're going to find you. That's the very, very important message you have to bring to the client. Of course, this means that you have to do a lot of research to find out who would love to have your product, your song, or maybe the dance you can make, or the textiles that you're working on. Who would love to have your product? Who is currently buying the type of product that you are presenting? This is the most important thing to know. So once you find out that actually, my textiles are mostly bought by, middle-aged women in Scotland. I'm just picking up any age, any country. So you will have to know, where do these middle-aged women in Scotland go when they want to buy textiles? And then you have to go to that arena, to that outlet, and advertise your product exactly there, because that's where they're going anyway. So the first questions that you want to really ask yourself is, where does my client go to purchase the product that I am offering? Where would you go? Would you Google it? Would you ask people? Would you go to the doctor and ask for it? You have to just really work out, where is the source for these people? Where is their magic place where they go to spend money, to invest their money, to have that product that makes them feel good? Because of course you have to remember this. When people purchase art, whether in the form of a song or whatever art is in visual or something textile or 3D, they don't buy it because of a particular very complicated thing. They only buy for one reason. It's the feeling that they get. It makes them happy. So either it makes them happy because maybe it's a gift for somebody who likes that type of art, that's fine. Or it makes them happy because maybe they're a collector, or maybe because a certain visual art makes them remember an emotion that they really like to have lingering in their heart. Whatever there is a feeling, and you have to be able to connect to people by creating the same feeling with your artwork. And then you want to ask yourself, where do they go to create this feeling again? Which is a really deep question. So you have to be able to understand who this client is, where does he go, how he's feeling, what his problems are, and how you're going to help this client to be happier, to unwind, to relax, or to be excited with your art. In future episodes, I will be talking a lot more about marketing. But for now, let's move on to another point of why we're not still having the success we're looking for. So one very, very bad, very sad reason is that you're not quite giving 100%. Why is this possible? Because sometimes we put our skill, our talent a little bit to the side, So we spend our day tackling lots of other things, the children, the house, the cleaning, maybe watching a movie, visiting somebody. That's all fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But if you're not giving 100% efforts, how do you think you're going to get 100% results? And it's very important to remember that to have a good measure of success in your work, you have to have a good measure of effort, and sometimes a very, very big effort, even for a very small success. And a lot of people are terrified of doing it and of failing, even if it's not art. It could be anything else. Maybe they just want to be an engineer, but they think it's going to be too hard, so they're not going to do it. And because of this, a lot of people do a little bit here and a little bit there, but they're not quite giving 100%, and therefore they give up because they're not getting the results. Last year, I remember watching a very, very famous viral commencement speech that was given by an actor who I really admire and is called Jim Carrey. And this speech has been watched so many times, it's unbelievable. One of the parts that he talked about was about having the courage to embrace your future. You might remember that he said these words: "So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it." Also, later on in the speech, Jim Carrey discussed his father's safe decision to become an accountant instead of an actor, and how he was suddenly let go from his safe accounting job. And he remarked in the end, if you remember, he said, "You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love." And I remember listening to his words with great awareness and realizing that we really have to go for the things that really matter to us, that would use our talent to bless other people, because if we don't, we're just going to live a whole life full of regret. And it's important for this reason to give it 100%. Why? Because it's not a mistake. We're not born with these gifts and talents and interests just like that. They are here within us. They can be developing and growing as we have more experiences, and there is a reason why we meet people or we have experiences that make everything grow bigger and bigger in our mind, and it becomes very important. So if we let it grow, and if you're giving 100% to let it become a business, something successful, something that helps others and to make us happy as well, then we're gonna get something good out of this. But we have to make this effort. Unfortunately, there are many people who are not quite organized when they're trying to launch their business. So, for example, a lot of people have no idea where the pieces of artwork are. They cannot find the audio tracks, they cannot find their paintings or anything else because their work environment is cluttered and is unorganized. Then they look for a client. I remember vaguely that a client sent me an email 6 months ago. I can't find the email. I got a letter about a gallery. I can't remember where I put it. So it's very difficult to work when you're working in a mess. Even your whole mind just cannot comprehend what's going on because there is so much clutter, so much confusion that is very, very difficult to have a really specific result, which is to achieve a sale and to reach the price that you wanted to reach, etc., etc. The same is for the sales. You should be able to track your sales and to see if you post on the internet something about the product that you have just made. You should be able to track it and see how many people saw this, how many people engaged with my post, and what happened. Did I get a sale and why? What days of the week am I selling more or less? So we have to look back and see, was the price making a difference? Was the time of the day when I posted? Was it important? You have to look at all the aspects, and sometimes we have to work with somebody who is a professional to analyze why our marketing efforts are not working to the level we need to. So sometimes what we need is really a spreadsheet or a system so that we can help to manage our business. So you can ask people who are working in a proper business and ask how they organize themselves. There are lots of aspects to being an artist. For example, if you're working for galleries, you want to know which dates they're doing special exhibitions, and you want to know this a year in advance. If you want to apply for positions, for example, as an artist in residence or whatever, there are deadlines, so you have to have this in a calendar. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, but there is so much. You have to be organized, just like you know that you're going to be to the doctor at 10 o'clock on that Monday, or your son has an exam on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. You have to know that by that Thursday you have to have finished that piece of music, for example, that you were going to make for the advertising agency. And if you don't know, ask yourself why you're not getting organized. Is it just because you never learned how to do it? Or maybe you need to work with a coach and see why you're procrastinating and self-sabotaging yourself. Or maybe just a habit you have of just doing everything in a mess, and so you're always late. Then you can't really say that being an artist is not very good for you, what is not good for you, and then you're totally disorganized or unorganized, and this can change. You just have to make that decision and say, okay, I need help here. How can I learn this? And you can do that. Another note I wanted to make about marketing is that although marketing doesn't sound fun or glamorous or, oh my gosh, I'm an artist, I don't do marketing, you really want to make a very solid effort, a very well-researched effort, because you have to grow an audience that follows you and that is attracted to your posts every day, every week. So whenever you come out with something, people are like, oh my gosh, there's Johnny, he's publishing this amazing piece of music or a new piece of acting, and we absolutely love what he does. So the next time I want to buy something, they will be buying from you because you are a regular, visible, present person in your local area or on the internet, on social media. What my suggestion is just to avoid posting just for the sake of posting. You have to think about a campaign. So you have to think of what is the message you want to give, what is the result you want to get, and by when. So you have to understand metrics and things like that. If you go to Future Learn, which is a branch or a wing of Open University, there are loads of marketing content courses that are free from very many universities. And you can just join a course, ask yourself questions, and see what you can do to create an image of your brand, create this entity so that people can recognize you. So even using the same colors, the same fonts when you're doing, for example, a campaign, it's very useful so you are recognizable. Because remember that the mind likes what is familiar. And so if I have two artists and they're just as good, they're doing the same type of music, the same type of products, the same kind of textiles, whatever they're doing, there's no difference. But one is familiar to me because I see the brand all the time, it's consistent, I see the same color, the same font, the same style, the same message. I'm going to buy from a familiar brand because I trust it. And that's how the whole world of advertising works, which is why they spend millions in advertising the pasta. So if you go to Tesco and you see, well, Tesco, for those who don't know, it's a supermarket, so grocery store, large, one of the biggest in the world, and it's here in England. In fact, I live almost in front of Tesco, don't I? Lucky me. But if you go to Tesco, there are 10 brands of pasta, and you think, well, I want a really, really good one today because I have guests coming over and I want a special pasta. So you go there and there are, I don't know, 10, 15 brands. You look at these brands and you think, well, I don't know, this is a Turkish one, I'm not really sure. This is Tesco, maybe not very good. Then you look at the Barilla. Yeah, Barilla blue box has been designed by a really good advertising agency in Italy. It's very expensive. You know, because this color and all the graphics have been there for 20 years. Very bold, very, very good. And you think, yeah, this must be a very good one. I had it before, the quality is excellent. You're not going to waste any time buying a very cheap and nasty pasta. You want the best. You're just going to buy that because it's familiar. You know it. It's always been there, and every time you tried it before, it was good. And so when they advertise, they are familiar to you. Remember that when you are an artist, you want to be familiar to whoever buys your product. So how are you going to do that? You need campaigns. A campaign will have a middle, a beginning, and an end. And so you are much better able to reach your customers if you connect, and especially using stories. If you use stories, they'll be clicked on, they'll be liked, they will be shared, they will be remembered, they will be repeated. But if your messages are all scattered, chances are they're not going to be very successful. So what is your message? Remember this when you are doing advertising of your own artwork. Now let's talk about another aspect that can be quite a sore area in your business. The pricing of your artwork. Maybe it's the songs you're selling, or maybe it's the artwork for galleries. But pricing is one of the big reasons why your art isn't selling. So how can you actually make a living if nobody is buying the work that you work so hard to make? So before you go and go, oh my gosh, I know it's impossible, but nobody pays for it. There are loads and loads of rules for pricing your artwork. So you can ask other people how they're doing this. You can look at what other people are selling the art for, and you can create formulas for pricing your artwork. For example, you can say, okay, it takes me, 20 hours to prepare this piece of music and to edit, to process it, or to prepare this photography setup. So in these 20 hours, I want to be paid minimum, £10 per hour, £20 per hour, or I'm going to rent a studio, so it's going to cost me £100 per hour. So you have to work out your cost. How much is this going to cost? And so after that, when you have an idea, or you can say, well, every month I had to earn, £1,000, £2,000, £10,000. And so divided by so many hours a day, how are you going to make this money? So you have to understand what is the price of the other people and what is the cost of producing this product, because you don't want to undersell your stuff. If you undersell your artwork and you sell it for, £10, where other people are asking for £100, you're underselling even their art, because then people who go and buy, they say, oh look, I can buy that for £10, why should I buy it for £100? Well, that's not very nice, isn't it? So you should keep your price in line with the other people, or better if you are better than the other people. Don't go too much high or too low, because by underscoring the other people, you will be working pretty much for free and undermining yourself. And I'm going to tell you a secret. When you go and see a client and the client says, oh well, but your work is £20 is too much, I can only pay £5, you can say to them, you know what, when I get the bills in the end of the month, I cannot say to the electricity company or to the gas company, well, I cannot afford £20, I can only pay £5. You just have to pay. And so in the same way that I have to pay the bills, you have to pay the bills, and you, when you go to work, you do not say to your boss, can we discuss this? Or I'm willing to work for free, because I just like, you just expect to be paid for your work. And I expect as well to be paid for my work. Of course, there are people who think I'm not good enough. Okay, there are two options here, right? One is that you are not good enough. So you're not very, very good. So you understand that you can't really sell your artwork for much because it's not polished, it's not as good as other people as well. And I can understand that because we are in a market, and so the best product sells better. That's fine. But sometimes you can see that work that is not as good as yours is selling for a good price. So that means you should stop beating yourself up and start applying formulas for pricing your artwork properly, because this is more an emotional or a mindset issue and not quite a client issue or a price issue. It's how much you are putting in yourself, how much stock you're putting in your own goodness and ability to make an outstanding piece of artwork. I'm, of course, taking for granted that you have work ethic, so that you're willing to do the work behind the scene that is very, very important to reach a certain level, a certain ability, and a skilled, well-made product, a good brand, right? So instead of sitting there to be waiting to be discovered, you're actually working to create that success, to take care of your business, and to do whatever it takes to reach the goals. You're working all the time. It is also important to know that sometimes we just have no idea of how to do these things. You do not know how to do our marketing. You do not know much about performing. Maybe you know how to sing, but you do not know how to perform in front of a public. Maybe you want to do songwriting, but you don't know exactly the metrics and how to write those songs properly so that they sound professional. Maybe you're not aware of the legal issues that are surrounding the work you're doing. There are lots of facets of your career that needs undertaking and need to be really studied. So it's a good idea to have a nice chat, maybe with a mentor, or maybe just a look at so many books and websites and workshops. It's endless. Take a 5-day challenge on Facebook. There are so many. You have to study the ins and outs of the industry and understand how to make these wise decisions with a coach, with a mentor, with a helper, so that you are working on all the aspects that make the success possible for you. Sometimes also there are artists that are thinking they're doing the right thing, but they're not quite hitting the mark. Sometimes they're not doing enough work, or they're doing work that is not something that is selling, or they're doing it wrong, or they're missing some of the very important pieces of the work, or they're doing it for the wrong reason. So you have to really go down and look at your work with a subjective and objective mind. So you look at why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and then ask somebody else, what do you think of this? What am I missing here? So if you want to be successful, you have to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to show it, and how to get the most of it, and how to price it. So this is really about a detailed business plan that you want to follow religiously. So there is no point that on the, 24th of December, you start posting your Christmas card and your winter scenes. Because guess what? Nobody wants them. Who are you going to sell them? If you are planning, for example, to sell Christmas cards to a company or to a magazine, you had to approach them a year before. So you had to be following all the trends very closely a year before, so you can sell them, and these people will see your collection. Remember, I have to be 6 of them for everything. And so you have to know how the market works, first of all. Instead of just throwing things and put everything in the wrong season. And for example, writing love songs when everybody's talking about, war. You have to really understand the trends. What is the people want? If you don't know what people want, look at the trends of what is actually selling. If you, for example, writing a course on how to make crafts for children, right? So this is very, very artsy, and some artists do a lot of money by teaching what they can do really well. So you want to do a course. So first of all, look at the market and see, can I fill a gap? Is there a request for this or not? Or is this selling already and is selling really well? Because guess what? If a course like yours is already there selling well, this is great news, because there are lots of students, lots of possible clients that are there, and they will want your product if yours is a little bit different, if it's better, if it's priced in an attractive manner, and if it offers something unique that other courses don't offer. So look up your competition. Don't go mad about it, but just look at, see what we're doing well, what is successful and why, and read the reviews of people. Read why they like this piece of art and what they don't like about it. That is so helpful. There is also a very personal aspect about selling your art, okay? And this is how you're going to build those relationships with the people that will eventually recommend you as an artist, or even buy or share your artwork. And a lot of artists are very much sitting on their own, a little bit sulky, a little bit isolated, and not really taking the time to build relationships in the industry, or with their fans, with their listeners on their podcast, or maybe if they're singers, they're not really talking to the organizer very much. So you have to understand, if you're not creating relationships, if you're not good at communicating with people, understanding what they want, how they want to feel when they're working with you, then you're not really going to have a lot of success. Because if you have two equally good, equally skilled artists, and one is very good to work with, guess where people are going to go? They love to have a special thing. For example, I remember on Etsy, which is full of craft people and artists, if you sell two identical objects to the clients, but to one you are giving them an extra thing, a handwritten card to say thank you so much, or maybe a little bonus, people remember you. They say, oh, she was not so nice, we're so pleased, because such and such artist gave me not only the song but also a lovely handwritten message, which I really appreciated. So always think of what could be the extra thing that make people happier to be working with you. Other times I see an artist who is doing everything right. The marketing is there, the artwork is brilliant, the recording is done very well, or the artwork looks professional, it's perfect. But the artist is doing too many things. He's doing everything on his own. And because he wants complete control, or he doesn't know how to delegate or to put a strong team together. And so what happens is the artist is working day and night. He's exhausted, he's really tired of doing everything, and there will be a point where it's just going to collapse because he can't do it all. So if you are successful, but you see that you can't really expand on this and you're running all the time, then maybe it's a time to hire a person to take care of some of your work, maybe some of your accountancy. Maybe you want a virtual assistant for a couple of hours a week to do some of the research, to know the trends, or how to organize your funnels and whatever else. So think about, can I delegate something to somebody else? Because sometimes you do not need to do every single thing. And if you are doing well already, but you want to expand, think about the team that you need to help you, and they will give you more quality time to think and plan about the most important things and not just the little details. And now let's talk about talent. Of course, many artists think that they are very talented, so they're gonna cut through the clutter and we're gonna stand out, even if there are millions and millions of other people that are doing exactly the same thing and they are in the same platforms showing their songs or their dances, their performances, etc. Well, yes, okay. Yes, there are people that have wonderful voices or can draw really beautifully. However, there are millions of other people that can do the same. And you have to remember that there are two types of artists. The one that thinks that he's good enough and that's that, and so he just prepares the artwork and goes. And then there are the others that think, I'm good, but I can get better. So every day they are practicing their scales. They're practicing how to use their voice better. They're practicing more expressions or more languages. Or they're practicing how to do a new painting technique or a new embroidery technique or whatever there is that will make their skill really stand out from other people. Even the best artists that I work with in Disney, even after 20, 30 years working in the field, they're still doing their drawing exercises every single day. It's not that they wake up in the morning and they go and prepare a beautiful piece. They practice the basics every single day, so they keep learning, they keep their mind really, really well-oiled, can we say that? So that their skill is so sharp, so unique, and it can really stand out. So one thing is a problem when people think I'm not good enough and they just put themselves down. We talked about that in the past. But if you're good enough, you still want to keep improving every single day, because we can never be the same as yesterday. We can always do better. And the market changes as well. Keep that in mind. It does help to avoid trying to be the next Beyonce, the next this. Just be you. You have to be you and to stand out from a crowd because you are unique and you have a story that nobody else has. So try to build your brand around you and why you are unique and not copying from other people. A word about being constant. This is so important. Just because you tried for a year and you didn't have much of a sales in your artwork, that doesn't mean that you have failed completely as an artist. If you want to be successful, you want to really refuse to give in, you have to determine to figure out, how does this work? Do I have the guts? Do I have the skills to make it? What else can I do to get better? And keep working on it, because the difference between successful people and failed people is just that successful people keep going. They don't give in, they don't give up. Now, if you were to look at some of the artists' websites, whether they're singers, dancers, drama, doesn't matter, they just look amateurish. So when you look at their promotional materials, they're not really good, the fonts are awful, the sound isn't very good, the image is not very good. Some people don't even have a website. Some look like somebody at high school created a website for them because there are fonts all over the place, 5 types of fonts, Maybe it's a yellow font of a black website. It's very unreadable, too small, too fancy, with lots of curvy things. They don't have a business card, or if I do, it looks like one of my hairdresser pre-printed thing from somebody. It doesn't really look very, very good, and it's just not very good. So when people approach you and you don't look like a business person, they start thinking, well, if you can't even invest in a very small thing like this, where else are they cutting little corners? And some people might not even want to talk to you because all their stuff is very amateurish looking. And so remember that the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you present yourself does make an impact. And so what is the message that you are giving when you're presenting something that looks amateur? And of course, this leads to a little comment about being professional. There are some artists that don't really act professionally. So what we do is, they don't really have a very good personality, they're not very respectful, they don't show up in time if you have to do a recording, for example, or interview, they don't come to rehearsals, they don't come to photo shoots, they just not really taking care of the feelings of other people or the needs of their clients, and they just act, generally speaking, in a very unprofessional manner. And so how do they expect to earn the respect of their team or of the people working with them and for them or their fans? It's very difficult because you have to acknowledge the other people as well. So don't just be a hermit and just ignore other people. It's very important to give them the attention that they deserve so you can really understand what is the product that they want, how do they want it delivered, where is the deadline, and actually keep to your word. Now think about singers like Madonna. I'm not saying that Madonna is the best singer in the world, but she has reinvented herself so many times over the years. And I think that this has brought a lot of freshness to her image and new products all the time that are very professional and polished, and you might like them or might not. But see, on the opposite side, you see some of the artists, and what we do is they keep doing the same stuff, with a kind of stale and predictable. Every single piece of artwork, every song is pretty much the same. They keep doing the same thing over and over. And so it's kind of boring to look at them because it's always the same thing. They're dressed the same, they're talking the same. Nobody's curious. There is nothing new about these people. They just don't do anything interesting. And it is good, but it's always the same old thing. So it's important to reinvent yourself, and while you are true to your fan, true to your brand, but always come out with something new and different, because you are growing, you are learning new things, you're getting excited about new things. So you have to put that in your art, or you're just going to become stale. That's the word for it, and that doesn't really help. To find out what your customer wants, you really want to understand your fan demographics. So what is your age? Where do they go? What's their gender? Where do they go to spend money? What is kind of their income level? Where do they live? What are their hobbies? So to resonate with them, you have to understand who they are, where do they go, how they spend their money. And to do that, you have to work with your marketing people and understand what your songs or artwork will resonate with them. How will they resonate? What is the message you're giving? So you're not going to sell a rap song to a CEO or millionaire, or maybe to a GP. You're more likely to sell it to somebody who listens to rap songs, right? So you have to really think deeply who your client is. And this means sitting down with your marketing people, track down which people are visiting your website, what are they doing about it, why are they booking you and not somebody else, or why they're booking somebody else and not you. So remember this, and you will always understand how to resonate with the people who you would like to be your clients. So I hope that this was useful today. It's been about 40 minutes of me chattering about, just freely going about marketing and business. And I hope that has clarified a little bit of what needs to happen for you to have a successful business as an artist. It's not enough to be born talented. It's not enough to work on your skill. You have to work on several aspects at the same time. And when you grow enough, You want to understand even better what your public wants and how to resonate with them as you develop, as your brand grows. So listen to your customers and always make sure that you are with them. You're walking with them, you are a companion in their life, and things are gonna go great if you do that. And of course, if you realize that you cannot do all this because you have a lot of emotional problems and you think, well, I can't possibly understand this, I cannot do that, and have a block here, I have a block there. Okay, let's have a session. Talk to me. I can help you to unblock anything that is there that is hindering you and it is making you think you cannot possibly do it, although you can see your art is good, your music is amazing, your dance performance is great, but you have something there that doesn't allow you to ask for the correct price. It doesn't allow you to portray yourself in a proper way. You're terrified of talking to people. You're terrified of performing. What is the problem? That's the time when you come to me. Go to francesidney.com, arrange a free consultation, have a little chat and see how I can help you to strip away all these fears, to make them vanish so you can really have a 100% well-deserved success by removing any emotional problems that might be hindering you at the time being. So this is it for today. I hope that these 40 minutes of art chat have been very useful to you. And I hope you are preparing very well for the Christmas season by remembering that art is something that we are born with. We appreciate it, we love it, we deserve it. You do not have to feel guilty about it because you deserve to take time to do your art. Because art is something that feeds your soul. So thank you for being here. Remember to click like and share and write a review if you want to help me to spread this work to more people. It's been such a pleasure to spend this time with you, and I hope that you will let me know if you have any questions about becoming a successful artist. And please feel free to write to me at francesidney@sydneys.org at any time you would like. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. You've listened to Create with France. It's all about art and awakening the artist within you.